town board, and I'm here to answer questions about the proposal we submitted to conduct a mermaid parade on the 10th of July on Main Street.
Yes.
Well, the first thing I have to say is that it was the most fun. I had the best time.
No.
My kids had the best time last year. We made really fun puppets.
And it was wet.
It was colorful. It was a rainy day, but it was like the most colorful, happy bunch of wet people, mermaids. It was appropriate. They were mermaids, but right. But it was a great event, and it it raised money for the.
Well, it was a beautiful collective event.
It was.
Lots
It
of
was a
businesses
real
got involved.
community event.
And you were awesome.
Are we making the decision not to close the road? Because I know it was an issue with DOT.
No, what we're
Did they get upset last year? that
We can't close the road without their permission, so that's
Right.
why I sent you an email about that.
And again, when I
Like,
I
think you
didn't
misunderstood
start that overture about closing the road. It wasn't an idea or a desire of mine. But then kind Chief Sewell emailed back the entire body and said, well, just tell me when you want to close it, we'll take care of it. No, that's not what we were asking. And as I mentioned in my reply, this is a brief interlude.
Yeah.
The crowd we aspire to gather is orderly and comfortable to use the sidewalks, and we will cross the people across one area at the crosswalk, as we did last year. If it utterly brings traffic to a stop for a matter of 10 minutes, as it did last year, the people who in fact were stopped had a really good time too. I don't foresee it as being any disruption, and it's and we're mindful that the participants are children. We had people blocking and crossing the participants, and I think because so many agents of this board were present, I can credibly say that we deported ourselves in a very mindful way as far as getting the people across the street,
Yeah, no,
I
other than the partial
It was-
nudity.
Yeah, Jen and I were
fun.
there, and it was very orderly.
And Jean was there
I was
too.
there too.
Gina was
Oh,
there.
Right.
She was
Great.
front
So
and
this
center.
year is going to be integrated with the farmer's market? Or is
Same
it-
as last,
Was it
yeah.
last
The
year?
farmer's market was
Yeah, they had a booth and everything.
critical to us last year as
Yeah,
well,
that's right, it
as was the
there.
theater.
That's right.
And I was open too, I had the
It was,
little shop.
Yeah,
that's
this-
right, we marched around it.
This
Yeah.
could not have happened without the help of the farmer's market.
Yeah, the
last year,
Rosendale
so
Women's Club
yay
had
to them.
Yeah,
outside and inside.
Does anybody have
Yeah.
any other questions other than, we didn't mean it when we said close the street, we're fine if you don't close the street.
I think it's
Really?
less complicated if we don't,
Yeah.
because it's gonna, mean we gotta jump through some hoops to get that done and get that approved.
So all we need this
So is
year
it the
is to have
same-
Chris and John come dressed as mermen.
Is it, I'm sorry, is it the same marching plan more or less?
Yeah, it's the same,
Okay.
it's the same
Same
site
route?
plan, it's the same route. We had explored walking from Binnewater Kiln across the trestle and then to the wreck. But it's also to be borne in mind, many of you who were present know, that would be too far to walk for those participants who are smaller children.
Yeah.
And from everybody who responds to the Facebook page to people who ask me on the street, this is parents and children doing things together. People are going to behave in the way that you frame for them, you expect them to behave. This is Sunday afternoon, and it's a child and community focused event. We're teaching our community that we have very specific ideas about how our children should be treated, and that we know how to have fun with our children.
So hopefully, is this maybe the week after Amy Trumpeter's performance? Will she?
It's the
Oh, yeah.
10th of July, which works for both the puppet theater
It does.
and the improvement
Because I
day.
know she has a big thing for.
Yeah, we don't want to,
Yeah, that's the first week of July.
Okay, so that's
Exactly.
great. That's great.
are there any,
What is it, July what?
the 10th of July, it's Sunday, July
Put it on
10th,
your calendar.
proposed as Sunday, July 10th from 1 to 2 p.m. If that works for you guys.
And of course, so 1 and 2 is the actual parade, but of course, folks because the farmer's market is open.
Yeah,
the town
people
is
will be
open,
gathering and
hang
eating,
out
people will
back
hang
there.
out afterward, and we all had an opportunity, or many of us had an opportunity to see last year exactly what that would look like.
Well, it had such a beautiful reception. There were so many people who came, who wanted to be part of it, to be part of the first, and then were totally thrilled that how smoothly everything went.
And now, I didn't mean to interrupt, we have a mermaid king and a mermaid queen, because the top fundraisers from last year get Tara of the Rosendale Rec Commission, and the gentleman from Saugerties, who raised about $500 single-handed, get to be the king and queen and pass on.
You got a crown for them?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to cut.
Well, will there be a pageant aspect?
No.
No. Okay.
We don't want to show our children that we,
There's no competition.
we have an opportunity of judging and cuteness. No.
Okay.
Opportunity of giant puppets and music.
All right.
Sounds great. So there will, is there going to be any other, well, there was the drumming and stuff.
There was?
There was.
Well, there was the band.
No, the brass band.
Right,
Brass
the
band,
improvement
so that-
band played.
Okay, is that the?
During- We've secured agreement from the improvement band,
Okay.
who are all to be lauded as the focal point and origin of the original Mermaid Parade. Without their level of energy and encouragement, I wouldn't have had the stones to do this.
So I think everybody's good. We're-
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are we on just the checklist of insurance, chief of police, et cetera? et
We're
cetera?
good to go with that. Everybody's weighed in.
Great.
Okay, great.
Everybody's pretty
I was-
pleased with, oh wait,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably vote on it next week.
okay, so we're not voting on it tonight?
No, typically we just give a chance
Just
for
hear
everybody to review it.
Okay.
And
We
then
got a
the
digest.
following week we vote on it, but I don't see any reason to be concerned.
Okay.
Especially if you tell me we're not gonna deal with the road closing, and we
No.
don't have to worry about that. I mean, it might be worth it to just say, we have a crossing going on, but
Right.
to close the road means you have to have a detour and all that, DOT has approved, so that would make it complicated.
Right, no,
for
the
some
request,
But as long as it's pretty much the same event as last year, I don't think anybody has any issues.
Yeah.
And we love you, so, thank you.
we love
We'll
you.
put it on for next week.
All right.
All right.
And now, I'm sorry, I only wrote.
You told us at the end, I think at the end of the parade.
I'll
No.
share with you if you want.
Well, I still have mine
What,
in
none
my
for Chris?
jar.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
okay.
No, I'm
And-
gonna give it to you because I have
Oh.
mine in my jar still. Oh, there's $5 in it.
I would
I know.
like to thank the members of the Rosendale Town Board
Reversal.
for leading the charge and showing the world that Rosendale is the kind of place where we know how to treat our children and where we know how to show them that you should never limit yourself according to what other people say that you can or cannot do. We have a town pool for them now, and parents and children doing things together. And we're going to have mermaids on Main Street in addition to the town pool that these people have provided for us, because say it back to me. I believe
I believe.
I believe that we
I believe that we.
I believe that we will swim.
I believe that we will swim. I believe that.
That's it from Rosendale, New York. Everybody on board.
All the mermaids aren't going to end in the pool. I mean,
Yes, you get
it seems
know,
like that's where we
probably.
should be going.
She's complicating things now. You're not getting
Maybe
out
next year we'll
Yeah.
end in the pool. I don't, I'm not ruling it out.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks so much. Thanks for organizing it.
Okay. Jill, I'm going to ask for your help on this one. The pool house contract with Weston Sampson is here in that big pile. Is there one for everybody in that? No.
I don't know because he brought it in.
It just got here. It's
The
huge.
bathhouse.
It's the bathhouse. So There's real, I think it's one pack, one
I'm
pack.
gonna read it real quick. I'm gonna read it real quick.
Come on, Mandy, be tough. Be tough, Mandy. What are you doing?
No.
We're not going to vote on it tonight, but next week we hope to be ready to send this out to bid.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we should do it now.
You know, we can't. We have to have it reviewed by our attorney. We have to make sure the language is correct. And, it's actually gone to Bill Blankenship for New York Rising to make sure he's happy with it. But
Well, I'm excited
Look at
this
that
is
real
getting done.
yes.
This is great.
And you're gonna review that and give us this now?
Yes, I'll give you
How
guys
is
a
that?
summary.
We're not letting it out of our sight. It took a long time to get it.
That's just the bathhouse?
That's the bathhouse.
Wow, isn't it crazy?
You
That's
literally
silly.
drove it down.
We
half
tried.
an hour
We tried to
before
do a
you
simpler
tonight.
way.
That's silly.
Free?
Okay,
But it's 317.
Got time?
that's so fine.
Take a glance.
Now you
Like
know
I
Jill.
said,
Now you know Jill's.
It's actually
plan.
just add water and it
Right.
All
is the
these
bathhouse.
cramps.
It's gonna
This is to insulate and build a shower, basically. That's what this is.
Take a shower before you get out to the pool.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
So
not gonna read it now.
you're not. Come on.
Too much.
After you beat up Mandy so you can do it, you're
I
not
just
gonna.
wanted to touch it. I wanted to see that it was real.
What are we on
Okay.
to now then?
Jen wants to do the support of the bill A9831A, and I'll let her explain it.
Yeah, so, Assembly Member Scartatos, and, let's see, it's Orange County and a part of Ulster County, I think, has introduced a bill into the Assembly that would prohibit oil pipelines on New York Thruway property. So this, we actually, the town board had an emergency meeting for a different issue earlier in the week, but at that meeting, last week, we agreed that we would send an email from our board, a letter from our board, to all the other municipalities in Ulster and in the pipeline path, encouraging to adopt this resolution as well, that we're going to read tonight, and it's a supporting resolution. And we would like to see our Assembly member, Assemblyman Cahill, co-sponsor that resolution, and we'd also urge our senator to introduce or somehow enable a companion bill in the Senate, because you need one in both houses, right, for it to become law. So
It's co-sponsored already by four other senators.
yes, but I don't have their names
Yeah, I
in
have
front
it
of
right
me.
here.
Scoopus, yeah.
Scoopus, Mosley, Abernathy, and Gottfried.
So what resolution, we're, just one, right? Resolution 05-216-1, urging the state of New York to support the passage of Bill A09831A, an act to prevent the construction of pipelines to transport hazardous substances or petroleum on property under the jurisdiction of the New York Thruway Authority. Whereas we, as representatives of the town of Rosendale, a municipality in the Hudson Valley, are writing to express our collective support for proposed legislation A09831A, an act to amend the Public Authorities Law and the Environmental Conservation Law in relation to the construction of a pipeline property under the control of the New York State Thruway Authority. And whereas history has shown time and time again that oil and petroleum pipelines are demonstrably dangerous and pose a substantial threat to our water resources, natural lands, endangered species, homes, and most importantly, people. And whereas oil and petroleum pipelines constructed longitudinally on New York State Thruway Authority property would cross hundreds of streams, wetlands, and water bodies, pass over numerous drinking water aquifers, and traverse through or in close proximity to residences, schools, public parks, and businesses. And whereas pipelines are prone to leakage, and if an accident were to occur along the thruway, the consequences might be catastrophic. And whereas we rely on waters and lands through which the proposed pipeline would be built, that, if contaminated, would poison our drinking water and diminish the health and quality of life for everyone in the area. And whereas it would cost our communities millions of dollars to attempt to address the effects of a leak would have on our drinking water, open spaces, homes, farmlands, and streams. And whereas our landscapes and idyllic sites along the thruway, which attract thousands of tourists every year, would be put at risk, and any spillage would thus prove harmful to our economic base. And whereas organizations building a pipeline would take advantage of eminent domain laws to force themselves onto the properties of homeowners, in spite of the fact that the homeowners may object and or receive inadequate compensation. And whereas pipelines can leak for an indefinite period of time and accidents are typically discovered only after their ramifications have been felt, often by members of the public and first responders. Studies indicate that the most sophisticated detection technologies do not have a satisfactory record of identifying and stopping leaks before they can inflict damage. And whereas the magnitude of any leak would be enormous and the consequences dire, as a quart of oil can pollute up to 250,000 gallons of drinking water, and whereas pipelines are not inspected to a degree at which the safety of all New Yorkers could be guaranteed, only 135 Hazardous Materials Safety Administration inspectors watch over 2.6 million miles of pipeline, enough material to circle the globe several times. And whereas municipal fire departments are currently unequipped to combat the pipeline-related accidents and preparation for an adequate response to such events would entail a substantial amount of funding and training. Without sufficient equipment, training, or finances, our local firefighters and other first responders would be put at great risk when called to duty. And whereas we have enjoyed the natural scenic views and the benefits they afford for years, and a pipeline would significantly detract from the New York experience, a pipeline would require over 100 construction and maintenance access roads. Moreover, large and noticeable shutoff valves would be frequently placed above ground along the route with a higher concentration at environmentally sensitive locations such as wetlands and waterways. And whereas the only groups that stand to gain from construction of such pipelines are the pipeline's owners and shareholders, and these benefits come at the expense of our lands, our natural resources, our flora and fauna, our economy, and our health. And whereas in the 2016 State of the State Address, Governor Cuomo declared that by 2030, 50% of the state's energy must come from renewable sources, which to fulfill in spirit entails refraining from investing in hazardous sources of energy like petroleum and crude oil. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the elected representatives of the town of Rosendale, a municipality in the Hudson Valley, thus stand united in staunch opposition to a pipeline project on the New York State Thruway and through our towns, cities, and villages on behalf of all the people in our communities. And be it further resolved that this resolution is in support of Bill A09831A, introduced by Assemblyman Frank Skartatos of the 104th District, and as such does hereby authorize the town of Rosendale supervisor to sign any letter to that effect. And be it further resolved that copies of this signed resolution should be sent to the Governor of New York and state legislative representatives, and as such request that they support and co-sponsor the bill.
I'll second that.
So, Jen, first.
Yeah,
So it needs to be
we'll
changed on
fix
my
it, we'll
copy.
fix it. Can I just, I just want to be sure that you're comfortable with how this is worded, under the now therefore be resolved, that we, the elected representatives of the town of Rosendale municipality, Hudson Valley, thus stand united in staunch opposition to a pipeline project on the New York State Thruway and through our town.
It
Should
could just be our town.
And neighboring cities and villages or something like that, because we are
Town,
already a
cities, and, yeah, because as a municipality in the Hudson Valley, sort of referring to the Hudson Valley, but I can see your point too. So if you want to make it clear, we could say in our town, and neighboring, it would be neighboring towns, cities, and villages.
Right.
Our town,
Yeah.
through our town, and neighboring towns, cities, and villages, on behalf of all the people in our communities.
Yeah.
Is everybody fine with that?
Yes,
So,
thanks for clarifying.
I'll make that amendment.
Linda, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Sawski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lepari,
Yes.
Supervisor Welch.
Yes. And I'd like to make a motion to go in executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person.
I'll second that.